Hey guys, hello, hello. I hope that you are all well and good. Just checking that you can hear me and you can see me okay. So, I am going to share this live to really explain and articulate the importance of being present in this moment so that you can live the best life possible. And what I'm going to do is explain and how this translates into your levels of productivity. So when we are present in this very moment, we have, I believe, overlooked the power of the present and how that translates into our performance, our productivity. And then when we are working for ourselves, if we're business owners, if we're team leaders, if we are heading up a corporate or an organizational team, how this really translates into then earnings or profits. And so I'm going to explain how being in the present moment will impact you. And I can talk from my personal experience as I have really been on a journey in the last 18 months. And one thing that I've really been working on is being present, being more present than ever before. Now, what does being present even mean? Being present means being focused in this moment and not being in the past, ruminating on what you can and can't change, and worrying about the past, what you did or didn't do, what you could have done better, what you did or didn't say, how you did or didn't perform, or thinking and worrying about what may or may not happen in the future. And of course, the future is not even here yet. And the only moment that we do have and that we can be certain of is this very moment. So, in this live, I'm going to explain to you the power of presence and how it is so impactful. So, when you're in this present moment, what it enables us to do is be fully focused. Now, when we're fully focused, we are able to focus on what we are actually doing. And therefore, our mood, our movements become mindful. And so it's really powerful when we start to implement present moment thinking because it has the power to actually rewire our nervous system. Now, how does it even do that? Well, when we start to bring ourselves into the present moment by not thinking about the past and not thinking about the future, and drawing our attention into this moment, then what happens is we start to release stress and anxiety from out of our body. Now, how is that even possible? Well, most of us are anxious about what may or may not happen in the future, or we're worried about something that may have happened in the past. And so that generates anxiety in our body. It starts to really it sends cortisol around our body, which is the stress hormone. And we can often be fearful about something that hasn't even happened yet. And what that does is really impact our nervous system. And when our nervous system is impacted, then what will happen is we start to reduce our energy. We're not able to be present within our relationships. We're not focused on our task when we're in the workplace. And it is like a spiraling effect. And so when we start to really draw into the present moment, we start to be able to calm our nervous system down. And of course, then it's an upward spiral in terms of energy, productivity, focus, self awareness, and mindful movement. So, what happens then when we are drawing ourselves into the present moment, when we rewire our nervous system, we are then able to break the patterns that have held us back from being the very best version of ourselves. Now, what do I even mean by that? So, when we are in the present moment, we are able to create a space in between ourselves and our thoughts. So, when you start to say, for example, use something like meditation or breath work to bring you into this moment, you are able to become more aware of your thoughts, your conditioning, and your programs. And you're able to create space in between yourself and those thoughts. then you start to become aware and have the realization that actually you're not the thoughts, you're not the conditioning, they are just them. They are thoughts, they are conditionings, and you are not them. And so you are able to break the pattern of what's holding you back from being the most present, the best version, the healthiest version, the most vibrant version of yourself possible. And so, how that translates is you start to become more productive. When you're in the fight and flight, what happens is your body can only think about survival. When you're in fight or flight, your brain is literally wired up to help you to survive. And in that moment, you can't create, you can't connect, you can't be projecting love or being the most loving version of yourself because your brain is thinking about surviving. And so if you are in the present moment whilst you're in the workplace, just can you imagine what's happening to your levels of creativity? You start to see opportunities that maybe you couldn't see before. You start to see solutions that weren't apparent before you brought yourself back into this moment. And so, what that does, it enables us to bring more clarity into the way that we're thinking. And being in the present moment enables us to be the more of the observer. And then in that moment, what we're doing is when we're rewiring ourselves to be in the present moment, we are then having a huge impact on our nervous system, and we are able to bring ourselves out of what's called fight and flight and into rest and digest. And of course, I mean, rest and digest, you're resting and digesting. So that has a huge impact on every single system in your body, your digestive system included. Now, if you know anybody who's really highly anxious, if you are one of those people who we've all suffered from anxiety, we've all felt anxious in our time, and anxiety and digestive issues are massively linked to each other. So again, by being in the present moment, you have the ability to rewire your whole immune system, to build your immune system, to build your digestive system and enable you to digest your food even better. Again, if you think about how you're running yourself and your team, if you are more relaxed, if you're more calm, and your immune system is working on a new level and your digestive system's working on a better level, can you imagine the general health of well-being and the well-being of your whole team, of the whole organization, if you're to share this information? So by reducing your thoughts about the present, about the past, or reducing your thoughts of your rumination about what may or may not happen, you're bringing yourself back into the present moment and you're rewiring every single system within your body. Let's even think about your cardiovascular system and how that's impacted by simply doing this one thing and bringing yourself back into the present moment. So you're reducing your stress, you're reducing anxiety, you're building up your immune system, improving your digestive system. And here is the thing. And if you take one thing away from this live, when you bring yourself back into the present moment and you are in a work environment, what you're more able to do is respond rather than react. And when you work in a team environment and you're reactive rather than responsive, you are then impacting the lives of others. Now, if you're heading up your own team, if you are heading up a team in your organization, and you are able to pause for a moment and respond in a more appropriate manner, and therefore you're not impacting your fellow colleagues in a negative way, can you imagine what that's then doing to the profits of your business, of your organization? Because for one, you're improving productivity, and two, can you imagine your team members and your employee retention if you are responsive rather than reactive? I have had a client recently who left her role in a job that she loved because her manager was really reactive because he couldn't manage his own levels of stress, because he was very much a future oriented person, and he was so highly strung and anxious that he couldn't manage his emotional state. Now, if you think about it, to replace a team member costs you or the organization at least a third of their annual salary. So if you are a team leader and you are reacting, can you imagine how that translates into profits of the whole organization? Now, so if you're going to take one thing from this live, take away that you are going to save your business or the organization that you work for money by being responsive rather than reactive. So I'm going to ask you this question. How can you start to bring yourself back into the present moment? What kind of things can you do to enable yourself to be in this moment rather than in a moment that's gone and that you can't change, or thinking or worrying about something that may or may not happen in the future? And how can you use your presence to build on your current relationships so that your life is more fulfilled, you feel more contented, and life becomes even more joyful? I hope that you enjoyed this live. Please feel free to like, comment, or share. Or if you have any kind of questions around what I'm talking about, please feel free to drop me a comment or drop me a private message. And I would like to personally invite you to my masterclass that I'm running on the 28th of September at 11 a.m. There is a link in my bio to sign up for that, and I will be sharing really valuable content actually about bringing more presence, more productivity, and a higher level of performance into your life so that you can live the very best version of yourself, living the very best version of your life possible. Hope that you enjoyed this live. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day.